The latest Pompey news, updates every day from the Pompey Sound news desk.
Hull City maintained their bid for automatic promotion from the Championship with a narrow victory at Portsmouth, who were left rueing their wastefulness in front of goal. Pompey had by far the better of the first half, dominating possession and creating more chances, with the Tigers' only real opportunity coming when Ollie McBurney's early effort was ruled out for offside. The second half was more even until Adrian Segecic's short back pass put Nicholas Schmid under pressure, allowing Matt Crooks to slide in to score for the visitors. Portsmouth remain in 19th, 5 points clear of the relegation zone, while the Tigers are now third. Hull keeper Ivor Pandor was kept busy as Portsmouth had 15 attempts on goal in the first half. Hull now face what could be a pivotal week as they play promotion rivals Ipswich Town and Millwall. At Fratton Park, the Tigers thought they had continued their momentum from Tuesday's win over Derby, as McBurney put the ball in the net after Joe Gelhardt's effort was saved, only to see the linesman's flag go up for offside. The early let-off spurred Pompey into action, with Terry Devlin's long-range effort drawing an unconvincing save from Tigers' Ivor Pandor. The goalkeeper put those nerves to rest soon after, producing a terrific stop from Regan Poole at close range, as the visitors were unable to clear a Pompey corner. Segecic was next to try his luck for the home team, going it alone before firing across goal from a difficult angle. After the break, the deadlock was eventually broken through a huge lapse in concentration. Segecic had already been lucky to get away with one short pass before repeating the same error in his own penalty box. Schmid was able to scramble the ball away from the diving McBurney, but only as far as Crooks, who connected perfectly to send the ball into an empty net. Despite peppering the Hull goal in the closing stages, Pompey were unable to find a leveller, leaving the home fans and boss John MOUSINHO to reflect on yet another frustrating defeat. John MOUSINHO told BBC Radio, "I'm very disappointed with the result. We controlled pretty much the entire game. Ultimately we came away with 21 shots, Hull had 2, we completely shot ourselves in the foot with the goal. The manner of the goal was completely unacceptable. I thought we didn't have quite so much control in the second half, it makes it more frustrating in a way. Today was one where we really should have taken advantage."
Yeah, I'm really disappointed with the loss. The way that we lost the game is just is unacceptable, really. I think we completely shot ourselves in the foot. The only way we were going to concede is doing what we did. So we didn't learn our lessons. We spoke about it at half time. I think Hull had one shot in the first half, which came from us giving the ball away, being too slow in the middle of the park, and one shot in the second half, which came from us unnecessarily giving the ball away. So yeah, really disappointed. I think there's a couple of things. If you have one of those afternoons where nothing's going right for you at the top end of the pitch, which at times I think in the first and second half particularly it wasn't going well, then you come away and go, right, you take the point, and we've, I think, been the more dominant side for 90 minutes against the side who've just gone third. And you go, okay, for whatever reason we couldn't make it happen in the final third, and we don't score from one of our set pieces, and we had another absolute bucketful today. And I think if you take that, you can accept it. But the fact that we shot ourselves in the foot, the fact that we did things that we specifically speak about day in, day out, we spoke about at half time, and it's a case of really going off script and not sticking to what we speak about every day. We talked about a couple of bits in the final third about how we were going to try and create a little bit more. I thought we just left our wingers to it, so we left Harvey and Millie to it far too much. There were days where if the wingers are having a field day, then you do leave them to it, but I thought Hull doubled up very well, and we just didn't have enough underneath that to try and create and try and cause them a few more problems in the final third. So it was first of all about being more creative there, and then second of all about making sure that we were locked off and we didn't cause ourselves any issues by doing things that put us in trouble. And unfortunately we did, and that was the difference in the game. It's an awful goal to concede. I've got no issue if we're trying to play and we're trying to do the right things. If you look at how we actually concede, it's a flick on the outside of the boot. I actually think that was symptomatic of any time we made an error this afternoon in possession. If I'm asking the boys to play and I'm asking them to be brave, I want them to do it properly. I want them to pass the ball properly. I want them to move it. I want them to shift it. I want them to take too many touches. Whenever we took too many touches, whenever we decided we were good players and we wanted to do things that we don't work on and we haven't spoke about, I thought we were our own worst enemy. I don't think any of the work's undone because we put ourselves in a really good position, and A couple of the results today haven't been punished. I just think there's a shift we need in the mentality of the group where I think when our backs are to the wall, we've produced some performances and some results, and all of a sudden we have a little cushion, a little gap, and maybe I don't know what creeps in, but certainly we weren't as ruthless as we have been at times in front of goal. Controlled the game, created more than enough in the final third to get better opportunities, but I think there's something that we've probably struggled with over the past 18 months. About this time last year, I think we opened up about a 10-point gap, and then we lost a couple going into the international break, and we've got to figure out how we can do that better. We've got 4 games between now and the international break, and to be honest, it gives us a huge chance to pick up points, or otherwise it's completely up to us.
In a welcome bit of good news, after losing Josh Murphy for the season, Pompey have received a boost regarding in-form midfielder John Swift. Blues boss John MOUSINHO has confirmed that the hamstring injury the Gosport native picked up isn't serious, and he's now targeting a return for the Swansea City game on March 10th. Swift went down with the hamstring issue during the first half against Wrexham on Tuesday night, forcing the former Chelsea man to be subbed off before the break. A subsequent scan, however, has shown no significant damage. That'll come as a huge relief for Pompey. The summer signing from West Brom has been in great form, playing a key role in the recent back-to-back away wins at Charlton and Millwall, where he grabbed the crucial second goal. "It's not too bad for John," MOUSINHO said. "He's had a scan and will hopefully be back for the Swansea game." MOUSINHO also gave an update on striker Mackenzie Kirk, whose Achilles injury has kept the Northern Ireland U21 international out of the last 3 matches. He isn't expected to be sidelined for much longer, with a return against either Swansea or the following match against Derby County on March 16th being penciled in. "We're looking at potentially Swansea for Mackenzie, or potentially Derby," the manager added. In other team news, the injury list has shrunk by 1, with Australian defender Hayden Matthews making his return against Hull City. He had been out with an ankle injury since the New Year's Day defeat at Bristol City. The outlook is far worse for Josh Murphy, however, with the club still reeling from the confirmation that his season is over due to a metatarsal injury he suffered at Swansea in December. "There's nothing else at the moment," MOUSINHO concluded, "so it looks like we've got through that heavy period of games with no new injuries."
And that simple fact alone has to be enjoyed. We got through a real logjam of games with a lot of draining travelling and cold, wet nights and days. And we got through it, it seems, without any injuries that are going to, further injuries that are going to be serious problems. So that's well and good. We need John Swift back. We need Connor Chaplin fit again, fit enough to start. We need those two to be scrapping for the number 10 shirt. Segacic is a player with tremendous potential. He scores goals. I think he is still our leading goal scorer with 6. But he cannot unlock defences. And I think a lot of people will say, who watched carefully the Hull game, that we went down the flanks a lot. We didn't get a great deal of change out of the 2 Hull fullbacks, who always had a doubling up midfielder or defender behind them to make life difficult for Blair and Ali. And it would have been nice to have had that other option, which is to go through the middle. But we're only playing one number 9, and that's Colby, and so that we'd be looking for him from the number 10. Or the number 10 to be alongside Colby and somebody else to supply the killer pass that sets up the chance of a decent shot from in front of the goal. Most of our shots came in from a wide angle because they were created wide by our preference for attacking down the flanks. So we need John Swift back. It's a savage blow to lose our most potent player. I think that's fair enough. Even though 2 seasons Colby Bishop couldn't stop scoring, that's dried up a little bit, well, a lot, recently. But Josh had established himself. He was in every championship team of teams, wasn't he? Every time they published a championship team of the week, there he was. Everybody talked about him all the time, including the opposition, looking for ways to quieten him. They don't have to do that anymore because he's out for the season. So, and Hayden Matthews looked towering. He looked tall. We need tall when he was warming up against Hull. I think he was only warming up to stay warm rather than in anticipation of coming on, and maybe Ogilvie moving out to left back was one option. As it is, The equally big Senegalese Jojo, we call him, had a run out, and he made 2 headers at the far post from free kicks. So that's promising. So the end of this glut of games, we can probably say that we would at the beginning of them have taken the number of points that we acquired happily, but we would have preferred 2 performances at least in which we we didn't trounce. We beat the opposition well, came away with absolutely nothing. So what we need is it's back to the fairground games and the crapshoot that we talked about elsewhere. We need Lady Luck on our side.
Pompey's man of the match against Hull, Zach Swanson, is testimony that a player can flourish when played out of position. A natural right footer, Swanson has fulfilled every aspect of his duties at left back with commitment and style. It means that when Conor Ogilvie is relieved of the responsibility of partnering Regan Paul as a centre-half, Pompey will have not 1 but 2 top-flight left-backs fighting for the number 3 shirt. So how has Jacob Farrell been faring during February, his first full month on loan to Western Sydney Wanderers? It turns out it's been rather an uphill struggle for him, and his teammates come to that, though Western Sydney had already been struggling in the A-League, and their poor run meant that they sacked their head coach Alan Stegashik and assistant head coach Ella Aratai Morales on almost the same day that Farrell touched down under. Though he got game time, they were not games to remember. Western Sydney won only one of their 9 games in February until yesterday's match may or may not have got them back on track, a 4-0 win over MacArthur. Jacob Farrell played in the game, but appears to have distinguished himself only by picking up a yellow card. Sydney's new manager is Gary Van Egmond, capped 15 times by Australia in his playing days, but a man who worked his way up to a league management via running a number of women's teams, as did his predecessor, and as did the owner-chairman of Sydney, Jefferson Cheng. Western Sydney currently sit 11th in their league, played 19, won 5, drawn 5, lost 9. Up at St Johnson, Toby Stewart has had to learn how to pick the ball out of the back of the net all over again. From the 16th of December he kept 6 clean sheets in a row, but then put 3 past them in the Scottish Challenge Cup quarter-final, and yesterday the same team had the audacity to score a league goal against him. It's beginning to look to many observers as though his loan deal to the club that is opening a towering lead at the top of the Scottish second tier is going to be one of Pompey's all-time successful loans.
Yeah, the loan system is what the Americans call a crapshoot. It's not rude. It's a dice game. You probably knew that. A game of craps. But the idea is the reason they call things that are a gamble a crapshoot is because it's just a pure matter of luck. And it's a pure matter of luck whether your loan works out. And we've had players lent to us who've been fantastic, and we've had players lent to us who just did not work out at all. If anything, it did 1 or 2 players, and I'm not going to name names, some harm coming to Pompey and not cutting it, and then the crowd getting on one particular player's back really badly, I thought, but anyway. And then you get Pompey players going out on loan, such as Farrell. It's uphill for him. You begin to wonder what his future is going to be at Pompey. This loan isn't working out for him down under. At least he's got his home. He's home, and that may help his body mend and his mind get even stronger. But he's not getting the footballing experience that you'd want from a player that you've bought, and that has had some injury problems, and so you've lent him to Australia, for goodness sake. Now, Scotland is nowhere near as far as Australia, but it may seem like it to Toby Stewart, and if things were going badly for him, he probably will be longing for the South Coast, his home. He possibly still is, but not with the same degree of intensity that he would have if he was constantly fishing the ball out of the back of the net and getting bad reviews. As it is, the opposite is happening. 6 games in a row, a clean sheet is pretty good going. And he's getting the plaudits as well. He's pulling off great saves. He's playing an eye-catching game. Not in a flashy way. Apparently he's a safe pair of hands, but he knows how to block a shot. And he gets up to the crosses, of which there are plenty in Scottish football. That's not a cliche. I think that's a stat. So, the loan system. Heads you win, tails they lose, or something like that. It's a 50-50 thing, isn't it? And at the moment, we're quids in with Toby Stewart, a slight concern about Jacob Farrell.